I watched the Keke Palmer and Emma Grede interview because that clip kept flying across my YouTube feed. Emma said, work from home culture is a career killer for women. And I get the point she was making. Visibility matters, relationships matter, being in the room can matter. But I also know this: being in the room does not mean that you are being seen. Welcome to the Always On Mute podcast, where we know not everyone was born with a mic in their hand or a megaphone in their mouth, but we still have something to say because quiet is still a voice. Welcome to the Always On Mute podcast. I'm Antonia, and this is where quiet minds speak with intention. So, if you haven't seen the clip, Emma Grede was on Keke Palmer's podcast and she said, work from home culture is a career killer for women. Careers require proximity and visibility. You want a pay rise? You want the next promotion? You want the big corner office? Guess what? You need to be there. She also said, your boss won't tell you that because they're not allowed to tell you. But the truth is the truth. So that's what Emma said. Now, I want to be fair. In that same conversation, Emma acknowledged that flexibility exists in her own organizations. She was not saying no one should ever work from home. She was specifically speaking to women who want the promotion, the title, the corner office. Just to those people. So I heard her. And I still think the conversation is incomplete. I'm going to speak from my own experience. I'm an introvert. Most of you already know that, right? And when the push to return to the office came, I was not excited, not even a smidgen. The noise, the constant movement, the performance of being on all the time, the energy it takes to exist in that environment for 8 hours, the commute, that part is not small for me. But I went. I showed up. I sat at the desk. I participated. I made myself as invisible as I could be. And here's what I noticed. Showing up did not change what had already been decided about me. Proximity did not unlock doors that had already been chosen for other people. Being in the room did not mean I was being seen, not in the ways that mattered. I did the thing, and what I experienced did not match the promise. That's why I think this conversation needs more room. Because when Emma says career require proximity and visibility, I understand the logic. In some environments, that is true. Some decisions do happen in the rooms you may not be in. Some relationships are built in passing conversations. Some opportunities do come because someone remembers your face, your name, your presence. I'm not dismissing that. But proximity has never been a guarantee. Not for all of us, not equally. There are women who showed up every single day, never missed a meeting, stayed late, were professional, always prepared, always helpful, visible, and still got passed over, still got overlooked, still did not get the promotion, still did not get the corner office. So when we tell women you need to be there, I think we also need to ask, what happens when she is there and still isn't seen? Because that happens more often than not. Right? One thing I did appreciate in the interview was Emma's honesty about privilege. Keke asked her about ambition and access, and Emma acknowledged that the whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap idea doesn't land the same for everyone. Because the real question is, bootstrap with what exactly? The part that was important, the part that was real. And that is exactly why the work from home conversation cannot be reduced to one rule for every woman. Because if we can acknowledge that access changes things, then we also have to acknowledge that walking into the office does not give every woman equal access to opportunity. Some people walk into the room and get welcomed. Some people walk into the room and still have to prove they belong there. Some people walk into the room and become invisible in plain sight. And for a lot of women, especially introverted women, caregivers, women managing responsibilities that nobody sees, women who finally found a way to protect their energy and still do excellent work. For those women, the cost of returning to the office full time is not just commute time. It is mental load. It is energy. It is money. It is preparation. It is emotional labor. It is navigating spaces that were never designed with them in mind. It is having to perform presence on top of actually doing the job. And that cost is real, even when it never shows up in a performance review. That's the part I kept thinking about. Showing up is not free. When you factor in the commute, there is a cost. When you factor in the wardrobe, the lunches, the transportation, the time, there is a cost. When you factor in the energy it takes to sit in a physical workplace every day, all day, especially as an introvert, there is a cost. When you factor in managing home responsibilities around rigid office hours, there is a cost. And for many women, remote work gave them a way to redirect some of that energy back into actual work, back into their actual lives. That isn't laziness. That is not a lack of ambition. That is strategy. Remote work did not make women less serious about their careers. For many women, it gave them the conditions to finally work at their best. And I think that matters. Because if someone is meeting deadlines, delivering results, solving problems, contributing, communicating, and doing excellent work, then where they sit while doing that should be a conversation, not a verdict. Now, I'm not saying the office is a useless place. I am not saying relationships do not matter. I am not saying that visibility has no value. There are people who thrive in the office. There are people who need that structure. There are people who want the corner office, the executive track, the traditional climb, and they may decide that being physically present is part of their strategy. That is fair, but that is not every woman. Not every woman wants the corner office. Not every woman measures success by the title on her door, if she has a door. Some women are building something quieter, something healthier, something more sustainable. Some women are choosing peace over performance. Some women are choosing flexibility because it allows them to stay in a workforce without losing themselves. Some women are doing excellent work from home because that is where their focus, energy, and clarity are strongest. And that part is legitimate too. The truth Emma was willing to say is that ambition requires effort. I agree with that. But the truth I want to add is that effort looks different for different people. For some women, effort looks like showing up in the office every single day. For some women, effort looks like doing focused, high-quality work from home while balancing responsibilities no one sees. For some women, effort looks like protecting their nervous system so that they can produce instead of burn out. For some women, effort looks like choosing a version of success that does not require them to be constantly visible to be valuable. And I do not think that should be dismissed. The environment where someone does their best work is personal. It is not a character flaw. It is not a career mistake. It is information. It tells you how that person functions best. So yes, proximity can matter. Visibility can matter. Relationships can matter. But results should matter too. The quality of the work should matter. The contribution should matter. The consistency should matter. The value someone brings should matter, because being seen should not only depend on who happens to walk past your desk. I'm not saying the office is the wrong choice. I am saying it is a choice, and that choice should be made based on what serves your work, your life, and your well-being, not based on fear. Not fear of being forgotten, not fear of being judged, not fear of being passed over because your chair was empty. If you're doing the work, you deserve to be evaluated on the work. That is a conversation I want us to keep having. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Has returning to the office changed your career trajectory? Or have you found that your best work happens somewhere else? Drop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, because I would love to know. And if this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you have not subscribed as yet, please consider subscribing so that you do not miss another reflection. All right, I would love for you to be a part of this community and this journey. Like this video so that we can get growing. And I thank you for being here today. After watching the video, I realized why there was such an uproar, because sometimes just one word, like one missing word, can basically change the whole meaning to a conversation. So I'm glad that I watched it myself so that I can understand what was going on. Maybe you should watch it too. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. All right. Thank you for being here. Please remember, being quiet doesn't mean you have nothing to say. It means you choose your words with intention. Stay muted and stay mighty. See you next time.